Thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I've never done a reading being filmed or even in this kind of setting, so this is in itself just feels like an adventure. I'm excited.
I've never had a reading, period, let alone with my own deck, so this is an all-new experience for everyone.
I'm excited. It's going to be a really powerful reading for you, I feel.
I'm ready.
Cool. So I'd like to start with just requesting from the universe that Alan's reading is one of the highest good for him, and anything that comes up is insight, advice for you based on your question that you have for the cards today for the universe. And just having trust in the process that whatever comes up is with best intention and all a learning process for you.
Sounds good.
Great. So what is your question today?
I've been overwhelmed with this question for the last couple of weeks. Whether to take on this huge project, and it would take the better part of the year and a lot of time, a lot of energy, and I don't know if I should, just jump into it or maybe pass on it altogether.
Okay. So whatever the cards have to say for you is really going to dictate where you go from there.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool.
Show me a sign.
All right, awesome. So I'm just going to shuffle these a bit and just keeping your question in the front of your mind. And I'll have you cut the deck, and then from there we'll pull 3 cards.
And then we'll play blackjack.
Yeah, right? We'll see if you win or lose, pretty much what it comes down to. So feel free to cut the deck wherever feels right for you. All right. Great. And looking for some insight for Alan on your project that you've started a little bit, but it's pretty
I
daunting.
could stop at any time.
You could stop at any time. So we'll see what the cards have to say for you. I'm going to pull 3 of them, and we'll go from there. Okay.
I see a lot of stormy nights over there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because with it, I'm seeing a lot of emotional kind of energy in here. One being the 3 of Swords, which can signify, a bit of a heartbreak of some sort and how to move forward with that. So I don't know if that is tying in with maybe a past experience of starting a similar project like this and not having a great result from it, and that's maybe leaving you questioning if this is something that might be a right move for you. Overall, though, the fact that it's reversed does kind of tie in with you being in this place of how should I move forward with this? And being that this is I pulled this as a general 3 card, but I'm kind of getting a sense of a past, present, future kind of situation, or something along those lines. And with the 3 of Swords being on your left, so I'm reading it from your perspective here since this is your reading, I'm getting that sense of just, some sort of loss or a heartache that's kind of tied into the process in itself. Does that make any sense?
Sure.
To you?
I mean, with every project I would take on, I really put my whole self into it. So it is emotional. It is very emotional for me because it will encompass my every day and night. Always thinking about it and always working on it. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And the fact that this card is reversed I mean, usually when it's upright, it is a sign that, you know, there is some like grief that you're working through or something emotional that you're struggling with. The fact that it's reversed could mean the opposite of that, that this is something that you are going to overcome, that you're not going to let it drag you down or, you know, take up all of that mental, emotional space that a lot of the projects that you do usually do. So, you know, finding that way in the process of what works best for you and your method to make it happen, if ultimately everything comes together for that. So here is the Two of Cups, which I love this version of it so much.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, totally. But also that is reversed as well. So that is, you know, usually it's like a unity, two people coming together, you may be working on the project with somebody else. I'm curious to know if that is something that you have been kind of starting with in the process of like maybe talking with other people, getting the process going as far as this project goes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so this is kind of showing that there might be some issues with that, being that it's reversed.
That is true.
There might be some like miscommunications going on, maybe not seeing things eye to eye in that way. It's going to be a bit tumultuous is kind of what this card is saying specifically to me.
Well, it kind of has been a battle about that.
Okay.
About me taking on the project entirely, every aspect of it, or doing it as more of a team effort.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, so this one, you know, looking at this, the fact that it's reversed, I usually love the Two of Cups because I'm like, yes, like, you know, have that community with other people and work together. And this is showing me in a way that it might be more beneficial for you to do the project maybe more solo to start, or, you know, when would be the right time for you to kind of like fit that into your life and not be so emotionally overtaken with the project. Might be some advice on if it's something that you do decide to go with, how you can make it work the best for you and your lifestyle right now. So this card, the Eight of Wands, is a really cool card. And the fact that it's here does give me, it can go two ways really. It does give me some thoughts, some feelings that you're gonna go with it. Because if you were to look at the Eight of Wands, they're just kind of like these wands that are shooting through in the air, right? It's like, who knows where they're gonna land? This is something that you've already started. You've kind of been getting your feet wet with doing some of the drawing, starting some of the project. So those wands are flying. Who knows where they're gonna land?
Right, we don't know.
This is giving me an inkling that, you know, it's something that the process is something that you're going to continue doing. On the negative side of that though, it is reversed. So that is telling me that, you know, it can be an outcome that you're not expecting, you know, that those wands can fall in a place that you weren't intending them to. That could be positive or negative, really.
Right. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, and when it comes to, is this an art project of sorts? Of course, yeah. So, you know, with art, you start with an intention, right? And then it kind of grows and
Takes on its own life in a way.
Yeah, totally. So all of these cards are telling me and that you are going to continue working on this project. This is something that you do have that emotional connection with already. And it might end up being something like maybe you intended it to be a team effort, have other people involved, but it might end up being something more of a solo project. That's kind of the feel that I get from these cards. So I would be interested to pull a fourth and get a little bit of a clarifying, if that sounds good for you.
Maybe it won't be inverted.
Yeah, right? Maybe it won't be. Let's see. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. So this is a really interesting card to get as a clarifying card, and it's not inverted. So here we are. So the moon tells me immediately that this is something that is going to come to fruition. Just the moon in itself, this card signifies intentions that are subconscious coming into conscious light. So this is saying to me that it's something that you're going to move forward with, but it will go to a place that you are not intending or originally were intending it to. How does that sound for you?
That's amazing that it's the moon card, because the one page that I did start has a giant moon on it.
Oh, very cool.
And it's kind of the theme of the scene.
That's amazing that ties in already with the project that you've started, and also with the moon too. I mean, even this card is like, yeah, you're gonna do the thing, but like be on guard in a way, right? Because you have the two dogs here, which kind of look pretty fierce, especially the way that you drew them. I mean, one is a zombie dog. So,
and one's a werewolf. Perfect.
One's a werewolf. So you're like, ultimately, I have to be on guard here. And then you have the crawfish in the center, which, you know, if you don't like watch your back kind of situation, you might end up getting stuck with it, you know, or might end up getting clawed. So that is really interesting. Overall, I get a sense that a lot of ideas are coming together. You've already started with that moon, right? And altogether, the project is really daunting, but it is something that you're going to continue to move with. And things are going to ebb and flow. There's going to be some aspects of it that you originally weren't intending to happen that might end up biting you in the butt.
Well, that was my fear. It's getting in too deep.
Yeah.
Doing it for too long and then realizing that it is too overwhelming.
Well, for the most part, the fact that you do have some Wands energy here is helpful, because that means that there is some, you know, the process will be moving along. The fact that it's inverted, that it's reversed, is kind of like where to, right? Like, is it going to be something that is really going to serve you in the way that you originally intended it to? So that's definitely something to think about. I do love that moon energy, and I love that moon presented itself to you.
It's so tied to the project. I mean, that you couldn't have asked for a more right on the money.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's kind of the card saying like, no, listen to us though. Like, we're trying to tell you.
You have no choice. Got it.
But yeah, ultimately this reading is one that, I think that it's something that you should continue working with, that it'll have that emotional investment there. Some things will definitely get going. There will be some maybe changes of who is involved. Overall, it's a process that, maybe listening to your gut as you're moving along in this project, and when it comes to, a place that you might need to make some changes, or if you land somewhere where it's not expected, knowing that you're able to, work with that, or that you have that choice to continue or not, if that is what feels right for you in it. So, yeah, overall, I think it was a spread that definitely has some heart-centered aspects to it. This is something that is meaningful to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the choice is up to you, like, do you want to embrace that Wands energy and move forward with this, propel in this project, knowing that you might not know where you land?
I know that moon. That moon's telling me a lot.
Yeah, totally. And the moon energy is so incredible. Working with this place of like subconscious, unconscious energy and bringing that to light through a project like that is really incredible. And the card after the moon is the sun, right? So maybe this is part of that journey, and then you'll get, you know, your reward in some way. You'll get more of that validation or that support, you know, emotional support in the project as you continue to pursue it.
That makes sense.
And and keep going, because it seems like right now it's so early on, and it can go in so many different places. I mean, this is just so incredible. And the fact that these are all inverted, it's like, oh, well, we'll see. But, you know, the fact that you do have the moon, you're working on a project that has a moon, and the moon is definitely part of the major arcana, which if you were to look at the major arcana in a numerical sense, the moon is in the higher end of that major arcana line. So being that the major arcana cards that are higher in that end are very much about coming to this place of like spiritual connection, spiritual growth. It kind of flows from a way of you know, the first 7 cards of the major arcana, leaving out the Fool, because that's a 0 card that kind of can go wherever. So the 1 through 7 is this place of connecting with our physical world, the physical realm. Then the second row is more of that connection with ourself, like mentally, physically in our body. And the third is that connection with the spiritual world and getting to this place of, you know, self-actualization, achieving things that are really going to change our lives in a positive way, create a lot of positive growth. And, you know, the moon is 18. So that's right up there with, you know, getting to the world, that card of self-actualization. So the moon is definitely this place of like an in-between, right? Because before the moon, we have the death card. So it kind of transitions. So we have, you know, that card, we have the moon, and then it's the sun, which is a completely different kind of vibe. So you're moving in that direction. So I think that this is a card that's telling you to keep going, to keep doing it, to be okay with being in that in-between place. And just knowing that, like, yeah, keep your guard on a little bit. This is a new project. You may have some results from it that weren't intended, some changes that might happen, but you're following your intuition. You're following this, you know, place of creation within you that's ultimately going to support you the most on your journey. So I think that's pretty beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I love that this is tied into the actual piece that you're creating,
I'll show
which
you
is
after.
Bonkers to me.
You'll be like, I can't believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
There's
so
a
cool.
giant moon on the page.
Overall, I think it is a reading that is like in this in-between liminal space, but telling you to keep going.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.